Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time.
Good morning, Ellie.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Gosh, it seems like it's been forever and a day.
I know. Doing good. Got my helmet on. I'm going to wear my helmet every day for the rest of my life.
So apparently bike safety is going to be the way we launch today, which is a good thing because, yeah, you've kind of been on a journey with this.
Yeah, it's been kind of rough. So everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm sure a lot of people know I've been working on a new song for, hodlers and two women in crypto. And I was riding my bike like a lunatic down by the park across the bridge. And I was listening to, Billy Squire, and we're doing a song about ETH GATE. And I totally crashed my bike and had to get stitches and went the whole thing. So I thought it'd be funny to start this show off because, I think the helmet saved my life. Literally, I was flying 20 miles per hour, over the bike handles. So everyone wear your helmet when you're riding your bike.
Riding your bike, skiing, snowboarding, all those things. Helmets are really important. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're okay, but I know it's been a couple of weeks of navigating, not feeling very well.
Right. So if I'm a little spacey, that's why. But I'm on the mend.
You're on the mend, and we're back, and we're trying to get some things caught up, and yeah.
And it's a little break of what's going on. There's some serious stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to open up the show and just have you share some of your experiences. What's going on in Portland?
Yeah, well, I mean, Portland, as we know, we've been in the news for a long time. I've been in Portland now for almost 12 years? 15, 17 years or so. Anyway, regardless, Portland has shifted a lot. As we know, we've been in the news a lot. But I'm not out in the world a whole lot, as far as navigating the streets, and nor am I downtown that often. But I was downtown recently. And it's just, the homeless population is just, you can't even really describe it adequately to see the despair and really the tragedy that's happened in the city and the people. It's really heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, truly everywhere. It doesn't matter. And I'm not just saying Portland, the city. It doesn't matter where you go. You're going to find homelessness, camps. And so it's a really surreal experience to walk through the city, a city that we all know and love, and see it just changing so rapidly. And I had a friend who recently was downtown and for an event and ended up, doing some grocery shopping for a woman who was homeless, who didn't have the wherewithal to physically move. And she just had this moment of compassion, which was a beautiful thing, where she was like, "What can I get you?" And the lady just said, "Oh my gosh, I would love some watermelon," and so she's like, "Okay, I'll go get you some watermelon," and, a few other things. But she ended up coming with a whole grocery bag full of things. And the lady was like, this woman was like, "I can use this, but I won't use this, but I would love this." And, truly expressed gratitude for that. But and that's not always the case, right? We have a tendency to be really, we don't always lean in.
Yeah.
We don't always lean in.
And I think it's really important to start leaning in.
Yeah.
For those of us who have means, let's start leaning in. Let's start helping some folks, because it's heartbreaking, to hear your story about people walking into REI and just walking out with tents.
Yeah,
they have no place to sleep.
And here the laws are a lot different, very lenient. I mean, things are very lenient here, and this is not a political conversation, although I know it is. I'm not going to go into that space, but you know, people are desperate, and there are those that will say, well, that's not only desperation, there's people taking advantage of the system. I completely get it.
Yeah.
But it's still, whatever it is, it's an issue. And shoplifting is rampant here, you know, and they don't stop them necessarily. And I mean, there's some nice looking tents out there, nice looking tents on the side of the highways. And you wonder, how does this all happen? It's a very surreal experience to walk through it, watch it, and see and learn how all these things are kind of taking place from my perspective, which of course isn't right there, but it's surreal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I live in a really small town in Florida, and it's like none of that is like part of like any of our daily lives. Nothing has changed in Florida. So it's like we never, we didn't have the same experiences, let's just say, as like a Portland, New York. I talked to my best friend in Asheville the other day, and there's multiple shootings that are happening on this one strip where I used to live in West Asheville, on Haywood Road. And to the point where, like, you don't want to be scared of where you live. So I know something that Kelly and I have kind of been talking about since the beginning. No one is coming to save us. And this is just a good reminder of like, we have to save ourselves, and we have to create community. So if we know of people that have community gardens, or like, I know there's places like in Black Mountain outside of Asheville, you can go and get free fresh fruits and vegetables. Like, let's get this going all across the nation, because we need food, we need water, and we need shelter. And when you don't have those things, there's a desperation there.
Right. Absolutely. And people, you can feel it. You can feel it in the streets. And it's really, and good morning to everybody that's joined us. Mary, Hope, Heather, good morning, and others, of course. But it's really interesting to dialogue. I think it's really important, at least for me. I can only speak to my experience, right? So you live in a pocket, right? You're living in a pocket. I've lived in pockets most of my life. So this is a really interesting experience to have. And I'm grateful for it, because I can go into the grocery store and I can see people really struggling, whatever that may be, and then be willing to lean in to have a conversation with some of these folks that are struggling, just to be witnessed, to even have a hello or a smile can go a long way. You yourself may be in a situation where you don't have the financial wherewithal to necessarily assist or whatever, but just compassion and presence goes 1,000 miles.
No, totally. Such a good point. So yeah, I mean, we didn't really want to start this off like on a bummer note, but like, this is reality. And, and I just feel like so many people don't want to go there, but it's not going to get better until we change, like we have to change, our world. And we're going through, we're shifting to a new paradigm, and it's like we hear the government, they talk a lot about equity and inclusivity. Okay. This isn't happening in Portland.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. It's not happening. So we need to figure this out and like come together and make it happen. And we will. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
And on a bright note, this morning, Kenny Chesney popped into my feed with the song "Everything's Gonna Be All Right."
That's right.
So
everything's going to be all right.
Everything is going to be all right. And I know it's all relative, but at the end of the day, we are all here and we're experiencing what we're supposed to experience. And we will figure this out. And as the new financial landscape is presented to us, along with all the other new landscapes, we learn how to navigate a new world.
Definitely. And with that said, let's jump into some crypto news. Yeah. So, the market's been up over the last week or two. There's been some really big news. A lot of adoption is happening behind the scenes. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. and then get into like some of the shifts that's taking place with the New World Order. And I really liked your combination of the New World Order and the Age of Aquarius, because it's not a negative thing, right? We're in America's New World Order now, and we're moving out of that. It's not a bad thing. It's just what's happening.
Yeah.
So we have the Ethereum Foundation came out, and they made an announcement that the merge, so Ethereum's moving from proof of work to proof of stake because it's more energy efficient. And that's kind of like what this narrative is right now, whether it's true or not with the climate. So we actually saw the date be set for, I believe, what was it, like September 18th, I think was.
Yeah, because the 18 is an important number. So yeah.
Awesome. So September 18th, they're going to be one step closer to becoming, just proof of stake. So what did we see with Ethereum? What did we see with the price? The news came out, Ethereum pumped about 40 something percent. Okay. So kind of like especially since I've had a lot of time on my hands, I've been kind of studying the charts. So, I bought in low, I sold high. I'm waiting for it to come back down. It might not come back down, but if it does come back down, I buy in again, and then I'll sell when the news happens. And I have my own long-term Ethereum bag, right? So there's definitely we should have long-term bags. And then if we want to play around, trade a little bit, even if it's fake money, you just write it down, right? And you're learning as you go. You don't actually have to put money on the table. You can just be like, I would have bought in Ethereum when it was, $1,020, and I could have sold it at 1,600. And then you're just learning, which I think is really smart.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, a couple of things. If anybody's really interested in learning how to trade and read the charts, using TradingView is a great platform. And within TradingView, that this isn't necessarily, they do have some educational pieces, of course, but you can paper trade. You can just pretend trade, which is awesome. It's a great way to learn how to read, do some swing charts, and begin to manage your emotions with, I know in the middle of paper trading, it's all simulated in a way, but you're still doing it real time. It's not quite like the real thing, but it gives you a way to really test the waters. And, in regards to Ethereum, there's on the TA for a lot of the coins right now, it looks like we are getting a bottom in place. Now, we still have some announcements coming up, and we still have the fall to go through, and who knows, but, Ethereum has made a nice enough move recently where the moving averages are shifting and showing more of a bullish trajectory, which is the first time we've seen since, for many, many months now. So anyway, it's good. I mean, we're still in the middle of the waves of the ocean, but the ups and downs and the roller coaster, but it's
yeah, definitely. And I know, like, we missed last week's podcast for obvious reasons, but Jerome Powell's still going to raise interest rates. So we're looking at 0.75% or 1%. We don't know.
And that's
for
the
sure.
28th. Is that July 28th? Is that when that announcement is?
Yep.
So.
And then they're off for 2 months. Wouldn't it be great, like in a financial crisis, just to be like, hey, let's just take 2 months off? Because that's super responsible. It's like summer break for them.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's why they say sell in May and walk away.
Yeah.
Because summer's coming and everybody's
on vacation.
Goes on
even
holiday.
though inflation hit 9.1%. And with that said, I've been watching, some of the commodities charts with like oil, for example. So barrel oil just dropped under $100. So if we see oil continuously go down, that could be a sign that we hit peak inflation. We don't know. But my theory still stands. As soon as Jerome Powell says, hey, we're going to take a break, we're not going to raise interest rates, that's when we're going to really start to see a strong pump in the stock market, in the crypto market. So these are definitely things that we want to keep our eyes open. And, because it does matter, like when we can kind of gauge when the bottom is in. The bottom could be in now, or we could drop even further. We don't know. There's so many like macro, like economic factors in play that are just completely out of our control.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's good to have us in our awareness, and we can certainly send the good energy out there. Come
That's
on.
right.
Come
That's
on.
right. And again, it's just like, it's one of those times too. It's just like, you know, if you were dollar cost averaging in and you bought Ethereum when it was like $1,000, how good do you feel right now? Right. So it's a good feeling. And it's so scary to buy when the price is low. It's like some sort of like psychological thing that happens to like our human little brain. Right.
Right.
It's like we want to buy in when things are good. But we should buy in when things are bad, when they're telling us that crypto's going to zero, because there's, you know, it's just you buy when there's blood on the streets, and then you just hold. It pops up, you can take profits and just play with house money, and that's
Yes.
kind of what I'm doing. It's like I'm building a little bit of bag, you know, of crypto on the side, so I can just play with house money. And so far, so good. I don't
And
know what
as
I'm doing. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't listen to me.
Right, right, absolutely. And, you know, too, dollar cost averaging, we say this every time for anybody who's just tuning in for the first time. Dollar cost averaging is a way for you to simply, in a reasonable manner, take your coffee money for the month from Starbucks or whatever it is that you may do to as a decompression mode, and just put it into the market, right? Just say, okay, I'm going to put $20 a month into Bitcoin. I'm going to put $20 a month into Ethereum, and have it be an automatic thing. And, you know, in that regard, you know, here in the United States, we have a number of exchanges. We have a lot of things that are shifting, obviously, on the exchange front. And Binance.us is a platform that seems to be extraordinarily stable. And you could, you know, look at something like that. That's what.
Definitely. And I think Binance was probably one of the most stable, but let's keep in mind who's going to go after Binance. The
Yeah.
SEC, I believe, is going to sue Binance. All right. There's so many things. There's like, I mean, doing the deep dives over the last couple of weeks, it blows my mind how corrupt the SEC is. And I am looking forward to midterm elections. And if we can get some really good people in office, like a new day is coming. Like that's what Tom Emmer said. I believe Gary Gensler, he's either going to quit or he's going to get fired because of some of the shenanigans that are going on in the SEC. It's just, it kind of blows my mind. But I guess, like, you know, the average person wakes up in the morning, works all day, has a kid or two, and like, you know, they don't know. They're trusting the SEC. They don't even know probably what the SEC is, but they're trusting the government to do the right thing and not be corrupt. And it's just, that's not where we are right now. And this is one of the reasons we're moving to a new world order.
Yeah, and we talked about, I mean, it's really hard. People's lives are extraordinarily full.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're full of things that are distracting, like shows and Instagram, social media, and all these other things. But we really encourage people to peek beyond the veil, you know, pull back the curtains and take a look. And it's hard. It's really hard to look, because then you have to think, and then that, you know, then you have to think a little bit harder about things. So, but yeah, we encourage everybody to look, pierce the veil, take a peek, lean in.
That's it. And if you're going to get distracted, I highly suggest getting distracted with the gala games.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about it. Because, like, so this is something that I've been following for a while. And, like, again, like, I know, like, back in 2017, like, I got into Decentraland. I sold it. I didn't really know what it was. Then I heard about Sandbox at 2 cents. I was like reaching out to people. No one really knew what it was. I'm not a gamer. Like, my background is 100% in finance, right? So I don't play games. But here I am because, you know, I have fear of missing out, right, Kelly? So I've been doing a deep dive in gala games. Now there's a new game coming out it's the first official game on Epic Games. Epic Games is the creator of Fortnite. And if you're a parent if you're a parent, right, you have children, you know what Fortnite is.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not a
Absolutely.
financial advisor. Kelly's not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. But I've listened to the developers speak in an interview during the week, and they are living like they've always been developing in a crypto winter. Okay. They haven't been frivolously like spending their money marketing or all of these, different things. They've just been developing. And to me, I believe that gaming and the metaverse could be recession proof. Like we're everyone kind of like, I think we can all agree we're probably in a recession, right?
Right.
The numbers will be official, probably next week. But like, again, it's kind of like, okay, Gala Games all-time high was 81 cents in the bull market. It's 5.5 cents now. It's 5.5 cents now.
That's a good dollar cost average right there.
Right.
Starting,
So,
yeah.
just full transparency, I bought Gala on SafePal. So again, it's just like when I did the research, I don't have an exact date when the actual game is going to be launched.
Yeah.
But they did say sometime in 2022. And here we are, we're entering into almost August. So if they're on time, we have a couple months. Once this game, what was the game called? Grit. It's called Grit.
Yep.
Everybody look it up. You could do a trailer. I actually watched people play, I watched them play. It's like a Western, and you go into like these buildings, and it looks pretty cool. Like, and again, I don't know, like I've never seen too many games. But the fact that, it's going to be on Epic, it's going to be huge in my personal opinion. Look how cool. Isn't this cool?
Nice. Yeah, and it kind of reminds, here we are in the wild, wild west ourselves, right? In the beginning, and it's got magic too, which is good. Yeah, interesting. I haven't seen it.
It looks really cool. And again, it's like you can play to earn. So you can play this game and you can earn Gala tokens.
Interesting. All right.
Yep, really cool. So that's something that I'm going to start really starting to dollar cost average into, because, like you look at the price of Sandbox and you look at the price of Decentraland, what if Gala is the next Sandbox in Decentraland? Will it go to $1? I think that the chances are higher than not.
Right.
And Gala is not just doing games, right? They're going into the metaverse, they're going into film, they're going into entertainment. So can they pull this off? I don't know. They have a really large ecosystem that they're looking to build out. But for me, at 5 cents, let's just say you had 5,000 shares and you spent $250 and it goes to $1.
Right.
How much money you have now? Right.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's better than a job. Right. So, or a nice side hustle. And people owe money on stupid shit all the time. So,
yeah, for sure.
Right. So, this is something that can actually like change our lives. So that's why, like, I encourage people dollar cost average it, and not just with Gala. We know that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all these other crypto tokens are going to be held at your local bank. It's a matter of time.
And that's why we're here, is because we recognize the fact, when we first started this, we knew, both you and I separately, and then we came together, that this is the largest transfer of wealth ever. And this is the biggest opportunity for all of us to step into a different mindset around our financial futures, within the ownership and taking our own financial control. So being our own banks as we move forward. So very cool. I'm super excited about the project.
Yeah.
I'm excited about all of it.
Oh, all of it. All of it. And how about Matic? Did you see Matt?
So psyched. So psyched about Matic. Been a big Matic fan for a long time.
Yep, me too. Me too. So, Matic signed a deal with Disney. Okay. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's Polygon. The token symbol is Matic. It's a scaling solution for Ethereum, and it's found so much success that it's kind of like its own separate thing now.
Yeah.
It's like you don't really hear like Ethereum and Matic's helping Ethereum scale. We're seeing like, hey, Disney, they're really focusing on building their future of immersive experiences. Okay, so we're talking augmented reality, non-fungible tokens, artificial intelligence, like AI characters, something that it's hard for us to wrap our head around. Like we showed 2 weeks ago, the little robots, in Charlotte.
Right.
But now we're looking at like a augmented reality, virtual reality that Disney is getting behind, and they're building it using Matic. So
yeah, and Matic's been on a tear.
Yeah.
Yeah. The charts have been, I mean, if you look at all the charts, Matic right now, I think, is like leading the way in terms of getting back into the green. Of course, this helps, but it was on its trajectory before the announcement, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I do believe Matic has a very, very bright future. We're seeing some mass adoption happen. And like Kelly and I always say, like, this is it. Like we're hit bottom. We might even go even lower, but we're moving to a new financial system. The new financial system is digital. The new financial system is based on technology. We can send an email back and forth to each other. We're going to be able to send value through the internet, like digitized, tokenized. We always talk about this. So it's just digitizing our current system and connecting all the systems, right? If I have Bank of America, Kelly, and you have Wells Fargo can't connect with Bank of America. Same thing. If you had AT&T and I have Verizon, and if those systems couldn't connect, we wouldn't be able to make phone calls to each other. What blockchain is going to do and is doing is connecting all of these systems for frictionless, instantaneous,
connectivity, whatever that may be. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing on Matic, I just want to say, and I know that we are big proponents, again, not being financial advisors, of keeping all of our money off of the exchanges right now, because if it's not your keys, it's not your money. If you have it on an exchange, that means it's a little bit unstable, so to speak, or could be used for other things. But Matic, they just launched, I put this in our group, 2 Women in Crypto has a group, a membership, but you can now earn 7.5% if you keep it on Binance, which is a nice little return. Not to say I have mine on my SafePal. I'm going to keep it on my SafePal, but moving forward, you're not seeing many of the exchanges offering things right now. So I thought that was a good thing, but still to be cautious of. Yeah. Nevertheless.
Yeah, I think it's such a good point, because like I saw Coinbase, Qcoin, which I know we can't even use here anymore, but like again, like Coinbase, like if I was like, hey, why don't you guys join Coinbase? I would get like a $10 referral. You would get a $10 referral. That's gone. So Coinbase and a lot of these exchanges, because there's not high trading volume, they're not making any money. Coinbase's stock was $400. It's $75 today. Yep. If you like to trade in the stock market, you might want to take a look at Coinbase. I don't think they're going to go bankrupt or go out of business. But when I see what's going on in other countries, it's very, very concerning. And things happen overnight. We saw it with Celsius. We saw it with Voyager. And it's hard to believe. But like we're watching this like happen. So for me, I don't know, like I don't want to put my Matic on Binance right now, or maybe maybe a little bit, right? 7.5% is awesome. It's amazing, but not if they're like, hey, not your keys, not your crypto. We're seeing this in China.
I understand completely.
Right. So, like I saw on Twitter, and again, it's just like when I look at the media, it's the mass media that has sold out. They're not telling us about all of the global protests that are going on right now and the fall of a lot of these like institutions and banking systems, farming. There's major things going on right now, which is part of the shift. We knew this was going to happen. We've been talking about it. Okay. But at the same time, when I see freaking tankers in rural parts of China saying, hey, this is the government's money. It's not your money. Okay. These are our assets. Once you put money in the bank, it's not your money anymore. You put things in a safety deposit box. You put it in your bank. It's not yours. Okay. And then the Chinese government is so crazy that they have freaking military tankers.
Wow. It's wild.
Whoa. And these are the folks that are rising to power. I mean, just something to think about.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. It's a wild ride. And again, we've been talking about this and we have solutions. Okay. Community, food, water, shelter, have a plan B. What would you do if something happened? You know, if you have the means, gold, silver. Silver gives you barterability. Gold is going to preserve your wealth. Because as we see more and more conflict, as we're moving, you know, from one system to another, historically speaking, it's always revalued to gold. And I think it'll be more than gold, right? I think it's going to be commodities. But again, we can preserve our wealth just by purchasing a little bit of gold, you know, silver, whatever it is. It can't all be dollars. And I know I've been talking to a lot of people, like, you know, a lot of my friends, like all around it. And we have this dollar mentality. You know, we've lived our whole lives, like not really even thinking about gold. But when you start to research the history, everything always gets revalued back to gold.
Yep. It absolutely does. And you can buy it. It can be delivered to your front door.
That's right. And you guys can reach out. I have a local guy here. I told him people just, they don't trust the system. They don't trust even the internet to buy gold. I trust this guy. He's been in business for 25 years. You know, he's got a store here. He will ship it to your house.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. You know, I think, you know, it's just fascinating. Everybody just leans into it. You just got to lean into it.
Yeah. So let's talk about this new world order.
Oh boy. Let's talk about the age of Aquarius, shall we? Okay, Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're moving from like the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, which, you know, I think is going to be a beautiful thing. We're moving into the age of enlightenment. And again, we're going to have to go through this transition, and the transition period stinks. I'm not going to lie. We're in it. We are in it. They are walking us through a reset. We are walking through a new world order. Not my words. This is coming from Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is the co-chief investment officer at the world's largest hedge fund company, Bridgewater Associates. Used to be my client as an IT recruiter. This is like almost impossible to get a job there in IT. Like, they don't ask you just IT questions. They want to know your thought process. It was the coolest, one of the coolest clients I've ever worked on. Really, really interesting. But he kind of, and people who don't know him, Ray Dalio, look him up. Okay. But I'm going to quote him. I wrote notes down. Okay. So back in 1945, we started a new world order, the America World Order. That's where we are today. Okay. During the times of a new world order, we see a fight for control. There's usually a war, and the winners set the rules. Back in 1945, America got to set the rules. Why did America get to set the rules? They owned 80% of all the money. Okay, everything back then was gold. We had most of the gold, 80% of the gold. We also had half the world's GDP, gross domestic product. We had a monopoly on military. Okay. So we had the military power. And because of all of these three factors, what happened was We had the United States set the world order. The United Nations is located in New York City. We have the World Bank. We have the International Monetary Fund based in Washington, D.C. That's all part of this new world order. This is where we are right now. And what happens is that after time, things start to evolve. So we see the United States as the world reserve currency. And with that comes like a huge amount of responsibility, right? So everybody uses the dollar right now, and we're seeing that become less and less. But it's the amount of debt that we have, the money creation, which affects the value of money. We print the money, and it's like right now, it's like the Fed has two choices, right, Kelly? We could pay the debt back with hard assets, hard money, or we can keep printing money and pay back our debt in devalued, inflationary money. What are we doing?
Well, let's just think of the song that we did, Dump Cash, where Gary Gensler's at the printer, just printing.
Yep.
Printing.
Jerome Powell, but same
thing.
Oh,
right? Sorry, Jerome Powell. Yeah. I can see his face. That's all.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's funny that we talk about Jerome Powell and Gary Gensler. It's hilarious. Yeah. Yep. Cool.
Printing money.
I hope there's not a lot of feedback. I'm hearing some feedback on my end. Do you hear any feedback, or are we good?
Nothing on my side.
All right, cool. So basically what the problem that like Jerome Powell has right now, if he were to pay back the debt with hard money, according to Ray Dalio, like we would have a crisis, in a debt crisis. So we always create inflation, pay back the debt using dollars. Okay. So when that happens, and again, we're seeing this rise of homelessness, rise of people can't take care of their basic needs in America. Okay. So then it creates like a great internal conflict that we're having in the United States right now. Okay. There's usually a large wealth gap. This is something that we've been talking about since the beginning. We're going through one of the largest transfer of wealth ever happened in the world. It's happening right now. And then it becomes like an issue with values. So we have a values gap. We have a wealth gap. We have a financial problem. Okay. And that leads to populism. Okay. We're seeing extreme people totally on the left, extreme people totally on the right. There's no more compromise. Okay. People feel disenfranchised. They're angry. There's no middle ground anymore. And that's something that we've always had in America. Differences of opinions were valued, not anymore. You're either with us or you're against us.
Yeah, that's very much where we're at.
Right. And what Ray Dalio was saying and what his concern is that what happens in 2024, when we have the next presidential election and people are like, whoever loses is like, I'm not stepping down. I'm not stepping down. So what would happen? Do we have more rule of law or less rule of law? And what happens when we don't follow the rule of law? We have even more problems. And this is all part of exactly what's happening as we transition to a new world order. Okay. So, and then we have Roe v. Wade, just as an example. What if people don't follow the Constitution and what the court said? We don't have rule of law. So then what happens is that we have a rise of great power and they start to challenge the United States of America. Who's challenging the United States of America? China, Russia. We have the BRICS nation. We have the BRICS coalition, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. I think there's one or two countries every single day that are starting to join the BRICS coalition. Okay, so the dollar is losing its world reserve currency. People want to trade in their own dollars. Okay, which will probably be backed by gold. I'm hearing it more and more. As soon as the BRICS coalition says, hey, we're going to back our currency, our local currency by gold, it's going to force America to do the same. And it doesn't just have to be gold. We have Saudi Arabia that has like massive oil fields. They can back their local currency to oil. And then when people want to trade in their dollars and they're sending it back and forth with all these different commodities, we need a bridge currency. We need a neutral bridge currency. What is that neutral bridge currency?
XRP?
Yeah, I think, come on. Get your
XRP.
XRP. Get your XRP.
I was wondering what shirt you had on today. No. Yeah.
Right? So here we are, so, and the way that Ray Dalio breaks it down, it's just like the United States, like we are not the strongest nation in the world anymore. Okay. We have a trade war, technology war, geopolitical war, capital and economic war, right? We have sanctions. And what does that lead to? It could lead to a military war. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen. Ray Dalio isn't saying that this is going to happen. But when we look back and we look at the history of the world, this has happened before, just not in our lifetime, but now it is. Yeah. And that's why I always tell people gold, silver, I know it feels weird. It's something we've never done before. We have to stop thinking in terms of everything in the US dollar because it's changing, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, it's here for sure.
Yeah. So, according to Ray Dalio, like he's giving it a reasonable chance of civil war in our country.
Well, I mean, the writing's on the wall. It's been on the wall for quite a while.
Yeah. And what happens, and you can do some research on Germany. When Germany was having all of its problems, who comes up to power? Some crazy person, kind of like a Hitler. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but Ray Dalio is giving it like a reasonable chance. He's a billionaire, runs one of the most successful hedge fund companies in the world. It's a possibility. We want to be prepared so we're not scared. Okay, because if the dollar does go through some sort of hyperinflation, we want to have our gold or silver or Bitcoin or Ethereum or crypto, our food, our community. It's really, really important. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting too, like to listen to him talk, to be like, okay, and what goes on during like a transformation like this, a transition? We don't know what the truth is. Do we get unbiased reporting? I find it unbelievable that like the left side of the media that never really talks about Ripple. And then you have people like Brad Sherman, okay, from California. At the congressional hearing, he said XRP is a security. How do you know, Brad? Are you having conversations with Gary Gensler? Because if you are, you're in contempt of court. You're not allowed to talk about these things right now. And he's at a congressional hearing blatantly saying XRP is a security. Who is his backers?
Right.
Who backs his political campaign?
I swear the theater is so broad. It's so broad. It really is leaning back and watching the fireworks happen. And hopefully hopefully we'll have clarity.
We're going to have clarity. I mean, we're winning the case. I mean, it's absolutely insane what the SEC and some of these folks are saying, what they're doing. They tried to get John Deaton, who's representing all the XRP holders in the lawsuit. They called him violent. And then when he started to do he did some, I didn't see it. He did some sort of skit about my cousin Vinny and they're in trial. It's like, do you do drugs? I don't do drugs, but maybe after the trial, I'm going to need drugs. And then like the SEC said he's pushing drugs.
No, they didn't.
They did. They absolutely did. And these are lawyers. It's not me making shit up. These are like lawyers. Like Jeremy Hogan, John Deaton, like follow these folks. It's so weird to hear these people blatantly lie. And when we have mass corruption in our federal agencies, America's in trouble, right? And again, we need it to fall so we could rebuild.
Yeah.
But it's funny and it's sad at the same time because it's
definitely, you got to look at it through both lenses for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And again, it's just like, and I think it's going to come down to like, we really need to like sit with things like, do we want to go down the road of the Build Back Better Act, right? And I know people are like, it's good for the climate. It has nothing to do with the climate. It has to do with socialism. It has to do with technocracy. Here in the great state of California, if you're unemployed and you want to go and jump on the website and look for yourself, you got to do facial recognition to get your unemployment. Are you free?
Yeah, see, those are things that most people wouldn't be aware of. I was not aware of that until just this moment. Yep.
So, these are things that we want to like sit with, because I don't think in America they're going to tell people about the Fed app.
Right. Well, I think
they're going to do it, and people do it. They don't question, and we need to question.
Yeah, people are already doing it because they've done their facial recognition on their iPhones or whatever the case may be, and that information is shared broadly. And so now you're walking down the street. I was just watching some kind of a technical video. I don't know if it was one of the higher end cars, a Bentley or something of that nature, where the map at night now shows infrared. So like if you're driving and it'll catch a cat or a person, the infrared imagery. So, I mean, that just soon it's going to say you, hey, that's Joe 500 feet ahead.
Yeah. Which I'm cool with. We're not going to stop this. I just wish it was going to be decentralized. And some of it will, I hope, but some of it most of it probably won't, right? Anything that's part of the government will be completely 100% centralized.
And I like to hold the intention that these things will be serving the highest and best ultimately, not
this is only during this transition, right? So Kelly and I, like, we always talk about like, here's a big fat problem. Well, let's talk about the solution, because I know, like, I saw someone else who's like pretty popular, this guy Paul Barron. He just talked about the Edge app, something that we talked about a couple weeks ago. So that's no KYC. And I mean, we just have to have both, and we're going to keep like spreading the knowledge. And at the same time, we're moving to a new economy that's leveraged on technology. So again, as the current legacy banking system gets disrupted, it's being disrupted by the blockchain. And that's how that's the solution. Right. So we're gonna rise up. We're gonna have a decentralized and probably centralized system. But blockchain and cryptocurrency wasn't around 13 years ago. And so now we're seeing blockchain become more and more adopted, right? Look at all the people who quit the SEC. They're leaving in droves. Yeah. Where are they going?
All to the crypto companies.
What's the future of finance?
Oh, don't we know it?
Right. So, and I know it's like kind of challenging times and people are scared, but I've always felt this, like the blockchain and crypto will save us, and more people get educated, the more we'll have like decentralized finance with centralized finance. We will have both, but right now, like when I look at inflation, and inflation is a hidden tax, and who does it hurt the most? The lower class, working class folks. So as the working class people get wiped out and they have to go on unemployment or food stamps, are they going to be in a decentralized world? No, they're not. And I hate to say it, but this is reality, right? Because when I see people that have to go get unemployment and they have to do facial recognition to have a federal identity app on their phone, that's not decentralized.
Yeah. Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
So with that said, let's start emailing our senators, our representatives, because there's still time to change this. And at the end of the day, we will go to a decentralized world because the people will win. It's going to take time. That's all.
Yeah, this is an ongoing process. It's
Exactly.
definitely not going to be a fix overnight by any stretch of the imagination. So,
Right.
but we're aware of it, and that's why we're showing up every week to do this, is to hopefully keep everybody on the cusp of what's happening.
Exactly. And like we have our Safe Pal and we have our Ledger, we have our Trezor, whichever one you like. And it's just like that's completely decentralized. We can do peer-to-peer transactions 100% decentralized. And and think about it too, it's like the more people like us become like super duper wealthy, right? There's only about 150 million people using crypto right now. But what happens when crypto grows?
Oh,
Our
I know.
assets grow. And then we have more of a voice. And we do. I see it and it's happening. And cryptocurrency and learning about crypto forces you to learn about the government and the SEC, the Treasury, the CFTC.
It does.
Then we can change, we're exposing the corruption. People that never would have even known that this was happening. So it's just like this small period of time, I think is going to be like it's going to be bumpy. It's going to be a little scary, but we have our great community. And again, we're going to transition out and we have the Edge app and we still have decentralized exchanges, decentralized finance. We just want to make sure that we don't lose it.
Right.
Right.
So buying things and putting them on a wallet, that's just where it needs to be right now.
Yeah.
Great. The other thing too is, since you're mentioning all of these things about, learning, about our financial systems, is we do have a class coming up on the 6th of August, which is an overview of the U.S. banking system. Super excited about that class because I think it's going to shed some insights for most of us that haven't done the deep dive, nor was it our career like yours. You've been in that market or in that realm of existence for most of your life. So this is going to be really, really exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
So we moved it out based on our Superman over the handlebars. So we moved it to the 6th.
And if you ever fly off your handlebars, and that's what the doctor told me, she's like, did you do Superman? You got to do Superman if you're going to fly. And I did. And that's the best way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. So,
so
awesome. Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think we're doing Q&A next weekend, right?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Anybody who's got like any questions, like Kelly and I just run this fun class. It's like $10. Bring all your questions. I know we cover a lot and there's some concerns, but I really like, taking like the past couple weeks and kind of going into silence, it's like love is going to win. Like I told Kelly, like I had like this major like download from the universe, like totally hysterical crying with joy, like right. And so it's love is going to create a ripple effect.
Yeah.
That's going to help us into the age of Aquarius. And the more we can make ourselves vulnerable, the more we can speak our own truth.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. It really like, there's like this energetic, it's even like an energetic war going on now. And even Kelly said, like, almost everyone in her spiritual community and all the healers, we all got hurt on the same day.
There's a
it's
lot
kind of crazy.
A lot of things going on out there, a lot of really hard, and I'm not going to, a lot of difficult energy, some injuries, family deaths,
loss,
individuals, friends being lost for, natural reasons or what have you. And a lot of family stuff, a lot of shifting going on. I look at it, those ropes are kind of being shooken up right now. So I think a lot of people are feeling it, and people are experiencing it without the awareness of what is really taking place. So
yeah,
lots of picking up going on.
It's a good time to be like, we're all on the right path and we're all right on time. And, anybody can reach out to me and Kelly anytime. We are here. We're definitely going to hold this space as we transition into the age of Aquarius and, live the rest of our lives out in like the golden age, which is going to be so beautiful and so awesome to have the high tech with the high touch. We're just these legacy systems are crumbling. You know, like people are sending me videos from all over the country. Even like I connected with some of my friends in India who didn't know what was going on. And now they're starting to reach out to me being like, oh my God, you're right. Right. Because like they're not lying. We just have to look for the information. They're not putting it on ABC News and some of the, like any major media news, programming channels. So
No.
we just have to keep spreading the news and keep like letting people know. And again, when we're prepared, we're not scared, we're not going to react.
Yeah. Yep. So we're in it together. That's for darn sure.
We're in it to win it. And we got this.
In it to win it. So until next week, except for those that we will see this weekend, please join us. It's on our website, the Q&A. It's $10. Super simple. Great way to learn and meet some community if you don't have it or if you're looking to expand it, especially in this realm of experience. It's, it's just a really cool group of people that get together. So we'd love to have you there.
Yeah, it's awesome. So a week from Saturdays are Q&A.
Oh, see, I'm so confused. I don't even really know. Oh, is it a week from Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. See?
Today's Friday. It's the 20th.
Oh, it is a week from. See, I'm already in next week.
I know. That's okay. I couldn't even remember what day it was.
Yeah. So excuse me. So there you go.
Good.
All right.
All right, y'all. So until next week, let's just huddle on.
Huddle on. Ciao. Your hosts for Two Women in Crypto are Andrea Caldero and Kelly Lair. You'll find more information and details regarding the Two Women in Crypto membership, educational and informative class and event offerings, and more via their website, twowomeninCrypto.com. Both Andrea and Kelly are available for speaking events and offer private consultations focused on helping individuals navigate the future. Until next time, huddle on.